Many people ask, when does decline truly begin? They wait for a number, a birthday, a diagnosis, a gray hair. But it doesn't start there. No, it begins in silence, almost unnoticed. It starts the day you stop trusting your own body to move freely. It starts the moment you rise from a chair and feel a hesitation in your legs. Not pain, but a loss of connection. That small moment is not weakness. It is a message. You see, the body never lies. It whispers first. And the legs, they are the roots of our temple. When they weaken, the whole structure begins to shake. Energy drains. Confidence fades. The world becomes smaller, one careful step at a time. Leg strength is the foundation of vitality and independence. This is not merely a statement of vitality and independence. This is a truth that touches every aspect of human health and aging. When we talk about aging, most people focus on wrinkles, memory, or energy levels. But beneath all of that is something more fundamental: the ability to move freely, to stand, to walk, to rise. And this begins with the legs. From the earliest moments of life, we build our connection with the ground through our legs. Crawling, standing, walking, these are not just physical milestones, they are declarations of autonomy. And yet with time, we start to lose this foundation. We sit more. We rely on convenience. Stairs are avoided. Long walks become tiring. And slowly, the legs begin to forget. Muscles shrink not from age alone, but from neglect. Joints stiffen not simply due to wear, but due to lack of use. The legs are not failing, they are responding to our choices. Many studies and observations have shown that leg strength is a reliable predictor of longevity and quality of life. People with stronger legs tend to live longer, suffer fewer injuries, and recover faster from illness or surgery. Why is that? Because strength in the lower body supports everything else. The legs pump blood upward, assist with balance, stabilize the spine, and allow for mobility. When leg strength diminishes, so does confidence. People start to fear falling. They become cautious. They stop moving as much, which accelerates decline. It becomes a cycle. Imagine a man or woman at the age of 65. They may appear healthy on the surface, normal blood pressure, reasonable weight, no serious disease. But if that person struggles to rise from a low chair without using their hands, or if they cannot balance on one leg for more than a few seconds, these are warning signs. Silent red flags that strength is fading. This loss may not seem urgent in the moment, but over time, it leads to frailty. And with frailty comes dependence on canes, on others, on systems that do not always care. It is also important to understand that the decline in leg strength is not just physical. It affects the mind. A strong body encourages a strong spirit. When you trust your legs, you go for that walk. You leave the house. You explore. You engage with the world. But when you don't trust them, you retreat. You hesitate. You become smaller, not just in body but in life itself. This is why leg strength is often associated with resilience, both physically and emotionally. And yet, many people treat leg strength as an afterthought. They focus on diet, on heart health, on medication. These are important. But if you cannot stand up with power, all of that becomes less meaningful. The core of aging well lies in keeping the foundation strong. You would not build a house on weak stilts. In the same way, you cannot build a healthy life on weak legs. The legs are not just limbs. They are your roots. And when the roots are strong, the whole tree thrives. When they are weak, the entire structure becomes unstable. In traditional practices, whether Eastern martial arts, yogic disciplines, or indigenous movement systems, leg strength was always emphasized. Not for appearance, not for performance, but for balance, endurance, and connection with the earth. The body was seen as a single unit, with the legs serving as the base from which energy flows. This wisdom has been lost in modern lifestyles. where chairs are abundant and motion is optional. But the truth remains, strength in the legs is not a luxury, it is a necessity. Muscle loss begins silently and accelerates with age. This process, known as sarcopenia, is often unnoticed until it becomes a serious limitation. It doesn't arrive suddenly like a fracture or illness. Instead, it creeps in gradually over years as strength, endurance, and mobility begin to fade. People often chalk it up to just getting older, but that mindset is misleading. While muscle decline is common with aging, it is not inevitable, and it does not need to proceed at the rapid pace most people experience. The first signs can be subtle. Climbing stairs becomes more tiring, carrying groceries feels heavier than it used to, getting up from a low chair or squatting down to pick something up requires more effort. These small signals are easy to ignore, especially when they don't yet interfere with daily life. But they represent the early stages of a deeper loss, one that affects every system in the body. As muscle fibers reduce in size and number, physical power and metabolic health decline together. Muscles are not just for movement. They are organs of vitality. They store energy, regulate blood sugar, support bone density, and help manage inflammation. After the age of 30, muscle mass can begin to decline at a rate of 3–8% per decade, and this rate increases significantly after the age of 60. For those who are inactive, the loss is even steeper. This means that someone who was once strong in their 40s or 50s can find themselves significantly weakened in their 70s. Not because of disease, but because of disuse. And once the decline becomes noticeable, rebuilding strength is harder, not impossible, but more demanding. Prevention, therefore, is far more effective than recovery. This progressive muscle loss affects more than just strength. It also undermines coordination and balance, increasing the risk of falls and injuries. Every fall, every fracture, every hospital stay has the potential to trigger a downward spiral, where recovery becomes slower and the body loses even more muscle during periods of immobility. This is why hospitals often warn about the dangers of bed rest, especially for the elderly. Even a few days of inactivity can result in measurable muscle loss, compounding existing weaknesses. Moreover, the decline in muscle tissue doesn't occur in isolation. It is often accompanied by an increase in fat mass, particularly visceral fat around the organs, which contributes to metabolic disorders such as type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and cardiovascular disease. The balance between muscle and fat becomes a key marker of overall health, and maintaining that balance requires active, intentional effort. Most people underestimate how much strength they are losing until it begins to limit their independence. They avoid strength-building exercises, thinking they are unnecessary or unsafe at older ages. But in reality, resistance training, whether through body weight, bands, or light weights, is one of the most powerful tools for maintaining not just strength, but also posture, energy, and quality of life. Regular movement that challenges the muscles is essential to send the signal to the body. This tissue is needed. It must be preserved. The problem lies in the quiet nature of the loss. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't announce itself with pain or urgency. Instead, it removes ability inch by inch, until everyday tasks require effort, and once simple movements now feel strenuous. People adapt, often unknowingly, to lower standards of function. They take the elevator instead of the stairs. They ask others for help lifting items. They stop kneeling or squatting altogether, and with each adaptation, the body responds with further decline. The principle is simple: use it or lose it. There is also a psychological cost to this decline. As people feel themselves becoming physically weaker, they often begin to question their capacity, their confidence, their role. Independence is more than physical. It's emotional and mental. Muscle loss takes more than strength. It takes away a sense of capability. Nutrient deficiency directly impacts physical decline. The body relies on a complex network of vitamins, minerals, and macronutrients to maintain function, repair tissue, and generate energy. As we age, the body's ability to absorb and utilize nutrients becomes less efficient. even when dietary intake remains the same. This makes older adults more vulnerable to deficiencies that directly contribute to weakness, fatigue, and the loss of muscle mass. The connection between what we eat and how we age is not abstract. It is immediate and physical. One of the most critical nutrients in this context is protein. Muscle is built and maintained through the continuous breakdown and synthesis of protein. Without adequate intake, both in quantity and quality, the body begins to break down existing muscle to meet its needs. This process is subtle at first but accelerates over time, especially in older individuals whose protein requirements are often higher than younger adults. Many older people continue eating the same way they did in their 30s or 40s, unaware that their needs have changed. Without enough protein, the body cannot preserve lean tissue, and strength diminishes day by day. In addition to protein, other nutrients play essential roles in muscle and joint health. Vitamin D is a prime example. This fat-soluble vitamin is crucial for calcium absorption and bone strength, but it also affects muscle function directly. Low levels of vitamin D are associated with muscle weakness, especially in the lower body. In older populations, deficiency is widespread, partly due to reduced sun exposure and decreased skin synthesis. Weakness in the legs, increased falls, and slower recovery from exertion can often be traced back to insufficient vitamin D. Magnesium is another mineral often overlooked but essential for muscle contraction, nerve signaling, and energy metabolism. It supports over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, many of which relate to strength and endurance. A lack of magnesium can result in muscle cramps, fatigue, and poor recovery. As with vitamin D, magnesium deficiency is common in older adults due to dietary insufficiencies, medications that deplete stores, and reduced absorption. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fatty fish and some plant sources, have also been shown to preserve muscle mass in aging individuals. They reduce inflammation and help regulate muscle protein synthesis. Chronic low-grade inflammation, which tends to increase with age, can disrupt the body's ability to maintain muscle and repair tissue. Nutrients that counter this inflammation are not simply beneficial, they are protective. Micronutrients like B12 and iron are equally important. Vitamin B12 supports nerve function and energy production, while iron is necessary for oxygen transport in the blood. A deficiency in either of these can result in fatigue, weakness, and impaired coordination. These symptoms are often misattributed to aging itself, when they are in fact treatable signs of poor nutrition. Calcium and potassium also deserve attention. Calcium is essential for bone strength, and potassium supports heart and muscle function. An imbalance in these minerals can lead to muscle spasms, bone loss, and a greater risk of fractures and immobility. Together, they help maintain the structural and functional integrity of the entire musculoskeletal system. Hydration also plays a vital but underestimated role. Dehydration can reduce physical performance, impair concentration, and cause muscle cramps. Older adults often have a diminished sense of thirst, leading them to drink less water, which further contributes to weakness and fatigue. Water supports nutrient transport, waste removal, and joint lubrication, all of which are essential for strength and movement. The modern diet, high in processed foods and low in nutrient density, compounds the problem. Meals that are quick and convenient are often lacking in the very elements required to sustain a healthy aging body. The cumulative effect of years of poor or insufficient nutrition becomes visible in posture, energy, and the ability to perform basic movements. The body is a reflection of its internal nourishment. When the building blocks are missing, the structure cannot hold. Immediate dietary action can slow or even reverse weakness. The moment the right nutrients are introduced into the body, the internal systems begin to shift. This is not theoretical. It is observable in real time. Energy improves. Recovery speeds up. Muscle loss slows. The body starts repairing what has been quietly breaking down. The critical factor is timing. Waiting until the damage is visible often means working against greater momentum. Acting early allows nutrition to become a tool of preservation rather than just a response to crisis. The body is in a constant state of renewal. Cells are replaced, tissues are rebuilt, and energy is generated every day. This process demands fuel. not just calories, but specific nutrients that direct and support biological function. When these nutrients are missing, the system begins to degrade. When they are present in sufficient quantity and quality, the body can maintain strength, resist illness, and repair itself more efficiently. The earlier these nutrients are provided, the more effectively they can support resilience. Proteins are at the core of this rebuilding process. They provide the amino acids needed for muscle maintenance, hormone production, enzyme function, and tissue repair. In older adults, the threshold for muscle protein synthesis is higher, meaning the body needs more protein to trigger the same effect as in younger individuals. This makes it essential to spread protein intake evenly throughout the day, rather than relying on one high-protein meal. Consistent intake helps maintain a positive balance, preventing the slow erosion of muscle tissue that leads to frailty. Branched-chain amino acids, especially leucine, play a key role in this process. Found in foods like eggs, dairy, lean meats, and legumes, leucine acts as a signal to the muscles, telling them to begin the repair and growth process. Without this signal, even adequate protein can be less effective. This is why dietary quality matters as much as quantity. Choosing foods rich in bioavailable nutrients gives the body what it needs in forms it can use immediately. Vitamin D and calcium work together to strengthen bones and support muscle contraction. If dietary calcium is low, or if vitamin D levels are insufficient, the body compensates by drawing calcium from the bones, weakening them over time. This can lead to fractures, especially in the hips and spine, which further accelerates decline in mobility. Supplementing or increasing intake through diet can stop this loss and create the conditions for rebuilding. Creatine, a compound found in meat and available as a supplement, has also been shown to help older adults improve strength and muscle mass when combined with resistance training. It enhances energy availability within muscle cells, allowing for more efficient contraction and recovery. In those with limited mobility or low energy, this can be a turning point. Small improvements in strength often lead to larger gains in confidence and activity, which then reinforce the nutritional benefits in a positive cycle. Fiber and hydration, though often considered secondary, play supporting roles. Fiber improves digestion and nutrient absorption. Hydration keeps joints lubricated, helps regulate temperature, and aids in the transport of nutrients to tissues. When these elements are neglected, even a good diet can lose effectiveness. Everything in the body is connected, and no nutrient works in isolation. Acting immediately means making conscious choices, replacing processed, empty-calorie foods with whole sources of protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates. It means incorporating nutrient-dense options like leafy greens, fatty fish, nuts, seeds, fermented foods, and colorful vegetables. It means being aware of when and how food is consumed, ensuring that meals support physical needs rather than just satisfying hunger. Small changes add up quickly. Within days, some people notice increased energy. Within weeks, strength returns. Over months, the difference can be dramatic. The body listens to what it is given and responds accordingly,